Hey everybody, hi, what's up? I'm Prajakta. Thank you so much for watching Mostlysane. Anytime you kind of get one of these opportunities where you're like, hey Prajakta, do you want to sit down with Adam and talk to him? And you're going to be like, oh my god, yes, he's the one person you want to go to with every question you would ever have about Instagram, which is an app that you've been obsessed with for a decade now. And then you sit down with him and then suddenly you're like, what do you ask someone like Adam about Instagram? You know, it's one of those. First of all, I'm going to say hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
I know we've barely had you here any time so far, but have we been nice to you?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been
Okay.
great. I've been to India a number of times, but not in about 6 years, so it's been a while.
Okay, a lot has changed
Yeah.
in 6 years, especially online, because I think the whole geo revolution kind of took over, and then India became this mad place of.
The price wars for the data, one of the lowest costs of data in the world, and then we've just seen an explosive growth of Instagram over the last
And it's
5 years.
available everywhere. Every time I travel outside of India, I'm so grateful for the network services that we have back home, because we could go to like the smallest towns and villages and you'll have all bars there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'm just getting out of the subway like,
Yeah. But 6, 7 years ago was not like that.
it was not like that. A lot has changed. So I want to ask you, how does it look to you right now when you're sitting with access to literally look at everything across markets? How does India look to Instagram right now?
It's our largest market at this point. If you look at the number of people who use Instagram, the overall amount of time spent on Instagram, it's just been amazing. And so it has gone from like an important market to one of our very most important markets really, really quickly.
I also realized that because I started creating content in 2015.
Thank you.
Hey, we were just posting pictures there
It's
then.
okay. That's all you could do back then.
Yeah. But I remember a very significant shift happening. So I would have friends who were working in like marketing firms and agencies in places where these influencer marketing budgets would be made, right? And I remember in the beginning they were like, Prajakta, we're working with like 4%, dude. Like 4% of our entire budget is going to go for this. So like, can you do it for like cheaper, or can we try to do a barter with you? I remember these were conversations. And now, not too many years later, the conversations have actually gone up to like, oh, like 80% of our budget is now just digital, or like all of it is just now digital. So with the influx of money that has come in, it's also not just the consumers that have gone up, but also the creators that have gone up.
Absolutely.
Like the consumption that's happening at this point, especially on a platform like Instagram, is crazy. So as someone who's working with something that's changing so quickly, how do you manage this? How do you map these changes?
I mean, I think the thing for us that's really important is that we are always open to evolving and evolving quickly, because, you know, Instagram has always been about connecting you with your friends and inspiring or empowering creative people. But how people connect with friends, how they create, how they entertain themselves has changed a lot.
Yeah.
And the biggest risk for us is that the world changes faster than we can adapt, and we just slowly become irrelevant. So, you know, at times, sometimes we change things too quickly and we get, you know, yelled at for it, and rightly so. But in general, I think it is super important for us to lean into that, because the alternative is to just become irrelevant.
And it's so, for a lack of a better term, creepy. I'll tell you why. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, okay?
Okay.
And I always listen to them on 2x speed.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, okay, get to the point. I literally have to.
I can only handle 1.5. 2x makes me nervous.
Really?
Yeah. It depends on the reader, though. Some people read faster, some people read slower.
Yeah, but like audiobooks are sometimes just really slow.
Audio is
Most
usually,
of them.
the books are usually slow. The podcasts are
Podcasts are fine. Yeah. I also watch my content on 1.5x all the time, because I love binge watching stuff.
Yeah.
And if I don't watch it on 1.5x, I don't get to consume enough.
Do you use Reels at 2x?
Yeah. So
That's
I want to tell
new.
you, which is why I was over the moon when I found out that I can
It's
watch
brand new. It's like a
Reels.
couple months
yes.
old. Yeah.
And I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, because there was no like announcement that was
No,
made.
just quiet.
Yeah, there was a reel that came up saying, hey, did you know that if you long press above the heart?
Yeah.
And I tried doing that and I have never been happier. So thank you so much for giving into my obsession.
All right.
Even more. Where so something like that, which is such a minute detail in a consumer's behavior.
Yeah.
How do you map like this, or is it just intuitive for you?
I mean, it's a mixture of things. We talk to a lot of people who use the product. We look at, the data. So how are they using it? But we just talk to people in person and do research. We travel around the world doing so. We get lots of inbound feedback. I get a lot in my DMs
Lots of
and my
DMs, I'm
requests.
sure.
Oh yeah, there are little a little wild.
Hey, Adam, here's a suggestion.
Yeah. My birthday. It's my birthday. All I want is a blue check mark. And, it's one of my most common
Does
DMs.
it work?
No,
No.
That's not how it works.
Just checking for a friend.
Yeah, exactly. So you get a ton of feedback, and the trick is, how do you sift through it all and find the signal amongst the noise, and then try to make things better every week.
I was so tempted to message Instagram about this, because while I am doom scrolling, there's this whole thing right now saying, wait for part two. And then if it's a page that I'm not following, I have to go to that page and then keep scrolling to find part two.
Yeah.
So I wanted to check, can we not have like a search bar?
Oh, yeah. No, we should make search easier. Search needs to work at the Instagram level first really well, and then we can make it work better on this sort of specific account
like
level.
Specific profiles where I could just go to Reels and search part 2 of this candle making
They might have like
session.
19 part 2s.
I mean, we're always going to hack the algorithm
that's how
in
it
some
goes.
way or the other. But I just feel
No,
like...
we should do profile search for sure.
Right? It'll just feed more into...
It's more just useful. It's just like you when you
100%,
you want to find that thing, then you can't remember what it was, and it happened to be like 30 posts ago. It's just annoying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, good. Okay, that's it there. So I don't have to slide into the
talk to the
DMs.
team.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. Now, as a creator myself, my 2 biggest platforms are YouTube and Instagram. That's where I earn my money from. That's how I pay my bills. That's where I go to for my content. And I happen to be in a position where I love doing my job, because these 2 platforms are so dynamic constantly and work so well with creators. Especially in a country like India, where we have a very quick ascent when it comes to the number of people joining the platform as creators. Is there something you want newer people joining today to know as creators?
I don't know if this is specific to newer creators, but if you're just getting into it, I think even if you've been doing it for a while, I think one of the most important things is to make sure you're intentional about finding the overlap between what's going to work on the platform, but what is also aligned with your goals. I think if you create content that does really well, but it's not aligned with your goals, then why are you doing it? And if it's aligned with your goals and it doesn't resonate with an audience, then it's not going to reach anyone. And so again, why are you doing it? So you need to find a content strategy that does both. Because reach is great, but reach is a means to an end, right?
Yeah.
Are you trying to get brand deals? Are you trying to sell a specific product? Are you trying to evangelize a cause? Are you trying to mobilize a community or create a community? Depending on what you're trying to do.
Yeah, have the objective clear.
Yeah, so be very clear about putting pen to paper on your objective, and then explore different and try different ways of creating content that will align with that objective, but will also hopefully resonate with an audience.
I like that you say that, because I always find that a lot of people kind of start creation thinking that we'll figure it out on the way, because that's how I have done it. But the more I create, the more I realize that there has to be some kind of a direction that you have in mind when you're going forward with it, because only then can you use the platform to its fullest potential.
Exactly. And it's not that what you do won't change, of course it will, but that goal hopefully will stay the same, at least for, long periods of time.
Yeah. Now there's so much that comes with Instagram, right? Like you download Instagram and then there's the feed where you have the posts, then you have the reels, then you have the notes, then you have your stories, then you have threads. What do you recommend? Is everything working in tandem a good way for your profile to move forward?
You don't have to use everything as a creator. If you can. Different tools are good for different things. Stories is a really great way to show behind the scenes, a bit more authentic, a bit more frequent. Whereas, broadcast channels are a great way to reach your most passionate following. You're going to reach less people, but they're going to go directly to your their inbox. So it just depends on what you're trying on those goals.
Got it.
But one of the things you have to think about too, and this I think of as being aligned with your goals, but you could frame it as being sustainable, is you have to pick a strategy that you can keep doing. If you think the best strategy is to post a reel every day, 10 stories a day, a broadcast channel update, and like a feed post, and you just can't produce that much content, then it's not the best strategy. It's not sustainable. So pick the ones that prioritize. Pick the ones that are most aligned with your goals, and then don't do the other ones. That's okay.
Got it. Also, there is so much shift that happens in consumption, right? Like I remember a very clear shift happening in 2020 when we were actually sat down and told, okay, you're going to have to now concise your 8-minute YouTube videos into 15-second reels. And that was the most daunting thing for us as creators. I remember fighting it for so long.
A big change.
Huge change. I actually started enjoying it. And now I'm in a place where as much as I want to write and produce long form content, I really do enjoy short form. But as a creator, I feel like I also need to be prepared for this wave to take another turn where you never know if long form just comes back.
Yeah.
Is there a way that creators can kind of find a balance between predicting this but also not preempting it?
I think it's tough because I don't think any of us really know where the world's going to go in 5 or 10 years.
know.
But I do think that there are some broad trends. Some of them, I mean, I do think we're still going to see short form video continue to grow. It's also expanding off of phones and onto tablets and TVs and the rest of that, with connected TVs becoming more and more important.
Yeah.
But I think what's really going to be interesting is in 10 years when we don't, yes, we still have phones, but we spend a lot of other time using other devices that probably look more like these. Then like a lot's going to change.
Speaking of in 10 years, how is Instagram working with AI? What are consumers, creators to look forward to?
There's a lot of stuff, but what I'm most excited about is AI as a tool for creators to be able to tell their stories, and more people will be able to tell more stories and better stories.
Efficiently.
But some of it might just be a little bit as straightforward as translations. Like if you don't speak the language of a country, that doesn't mean they're not interested in your content. So if we could help translate videos, sound like you, look like you, but have it actually be in a local language, that could help creators reach a broader audience in markets that weren't accessible before. So even some more straightforward features like that could be really, really exciting.
You know, one of my favorite quotes around AI is, I need AI to do my dishes and laundry so I can do art. I don't need AI to do my art, so I have to do dishes and laundry.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a beautiful way of looking at this new tool that comes with so many kind of uncertainties.
Yeah, and concerns.
Concerns. What is the lens that you, sitting in the position that you are at, where you have the power to kind of mold and shape it into what you want your consumers to use? How do you look at that when it comes to what's coming for us?
Well, I think for us at Instagram, there's really two sides to it, right? There's what tools do we want to create, translating videos, helping creators do any visual effects that they want on any video that they want. But then there's also all the AI tools that are inevitably going to be used to create content that then comes into Instagram, but they weren't created on Instagram. I think the key thing for me is that content that is generated by AI is labeled as such, so you know whether or not AI was used to create it.
Right.
It doesn't mean you should trust it or shouldn't trust it, but it should be a piece of information that you consider. And so how do we create tools to label stuff appropriately? And then when we're making tools, our first-party tools, how do we empower creatives? Because that's really what Instagram's all about, is trying to empower creative people to tell their stories.
Love that. So many of us who started off, I mean, for me, I remember one of my, I wouldn't say fondest memories, but one of my first memories of using Instagram was I was so obsessed with the filters and everything that came
early
with Instagram
days,
in
all
2000.
the crazy, all the borders.
Yeah.
Like 2012.
11.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2011, where I remember that my goal was that I want to click and upload a picture in every class. I was in college at that time.
Every class.
While I'm in class, I was that hooked to it. And this one time I got caught, and then the teacher wasn't very happy with it or whatever. But that became my thing, where I was like, oh, like, it's lame now that you think about it. But in my head, it was very cool when I was in college. But I was like, every class I attend, I'm going to upload a picture from there.
Yeah.
I started off like that. Now when I scroll down my feed, I see where I started, where I've reached in the past 10 years. A lot of us did that. A lot of us started with just like, oh, look at what I'm eating for breakfast. And now it's way beyond that. So how does Instagram as a platform look at this journey that creators like me have, from just posting to actually becoming businesses, where now it's a model that, like I said, helps us pay our bills. It's a brand that we kind of build. It has given me opportunities that I have lost count of, and I'm very aware of that. So for something as lucrative as that, how does Instagram look at creators doing this?
I mean, we want to support that, right? I think the more that we can help creators reach an audience and tell their stories in ways that allow them to make a living or supplement their living, I think for us the better, right? So whether we've tried a lot of things around paying creators directly, around facilitating deals with brands and direct response advertisers, from creating products that allow fans to pay creators through things like subscriptions and digital gifts. That we want to make sure that the economic side of the creator ecosystem is strong. so that the creative side can be strong. Because there's only so much you can do if it's just a side hobby or it's
Yeah.
only something you do while you're in school.
Yeah. Also, I'm very excited to know, is there anything that India as a market has done that has been new or different? Because I always feel like we're a very
Yeah.
different bunch of people.
Yeah, yeah, it's
online.
definitely different.
Has anything just really peaked while you're just sitting on your reports and they're like, huh, how was this working in India? It was something like that?
Not that crazy, but in general, I mean, there's a lot of people use it. They use it more. They're much more video heavy, and they message a lot more too. Just kind of like more creative, more expressive,
Yeah.
more passionate.
Okay, so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. No, but we're very happy and we wanted to tell you that thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for sitting down and answering questions that I had for you. But it's one of my favorite places to create
We
content on.
appreciate
I have
everything
been
that you
doing
do.
that for so long and I've had great partners who work here who have helped me through so much. Not just that, but just the cross-border collaborations, just going above and beyond organic reach or just seeing the potential of what any piece of content can do on Instagram is mind-blowing and very, very motivating for a creator like me. So thank you so much for giving us a product that actually works.
Thank you so much. The creative energy from people like you is what makes Instagram work.
No,
in
we're
the first
very
place.
happy to be here. But thank you, Adam. This was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks so much for doing
Cheers,
this. And yeah, I think that's it. If you like this video, please follow on Instagram at Mostlysane.
Yeah.
And subscribe to my YouTube channel.